Hi, I'm Lyssa from the Agile Communications Agency, and welcome to Whiteboard Fridays. I'm here today to talk to you about the accessibility advantage. Have you ever been on a website that's so epically painful to use that you just got so frustrated you wanted to leave? Whether that was because you couldn't quite read the font because it was too small and in a strange color, or you were on mobile and kept trying to press this button, but it was just not recognizing your thumb hitting it. These are both accessibility issues that affect everybody. And today I want to talk to you about how improving your accessibility will also help improve your SEO, as well as making your website more inclusive. Now, imagine your website is a shop, but it's hidden down a dark alleyway, up some rickety stairs. You're going there to try and spend your hard-earned cash, but the first door you try, you can't get in. But you look around the side of the building, you find another one, but it's not really well signposted and you're not sure if you should be going in, but you manage to creak it open and go in. But inside, the lights are really bright and the music's really loud and obnoxious. So you're not having a very good experience and you don't feel particularly welcome. That's how lots of websites make people feel every day. Whereas this shop has a website. It has a ramp as well as steps. It has nice wide aisles, bright lighting that's not too bright. The music's nice and soft and ambient, and basically you feel welcome. And that's how accessible websites make people feel. Accessibility isn't just a nice to have or a checkbox to tick. It's also a legal requirement. So we need to make sure that we're making our websites accessible, but it's a win-win for us because it also helps optimize for search, as well as giving our users a better experience. When you're creating a website with accessibility in mind, you're helping real people, as well as creating something that search engines like. It's a win-win. It can be hard to make all of the accessibility improvements your website might need in one go. So my advice to you is to kind of break it down, chunk it down. But today I'm going to give you 5 things that I think you should address quite quickly on your site. And whether or not you want to do one at a time and work through your whole site, addressing each issue individually, or if you want to work page by page by your most popular pages, both of those are great ways to get started. But the key here is just to get started, try it. If you wait until you have the time and capacity to do it all in one go, we'll probably be waiting forever because ain't nobody got time for that. Okay, so the first thing we want to look at is color contrast. And it's surprising how many people aren't aware that color contrast can be an accessibility issue. So the choices we make in the fonts we use and the background colors are really, really important because lots of people can't read them. And you might be able to, but it doesn't mean the rest of your audience can. So we've put some different options here as color contrasts just to show you a good example. And this pale blue and this pale green, you probably can't read very well at all. They would not meet accessibility standards. So a top tip is to type the hex codes from your color palette into an online checker, check which variations work well, and then make sure that you're using those throughout the site. The good news is the more you look at this, the easier it is for you to spot, and then soon you'll be spotting color contrasts that don't meet accessibility standards everywhere in the wild. I'm often referred to with my team as the accessibility voice of doom because they've created something that's beautiful. And I'm like, oh, I'm really sorry. We can't use those 2 colors together. But it's all a learning experience for everybody and just incremental improvements. Next thing is alt text. Now, there are still lots of SEOs out there giving the advice to just keyword stuff in your alt text. But the problem with that is we're not thinking about why it actually exists. It's not there for us to trick search engines. It's so that we can describe the context of the image on a page to people using screen readers. Words in there are a breezy bonus, but only if that's helping describe what the actual image is conveying. Another tip here is that we don't want to use the words image of at the start. It knows that, that's fine. And also if we end with a full stop, then the screen readers know when to stop reading as well, like we humans do. We know it's the end of a sentence. So just putting some time and effort into making sure you have useful, helpful alt tags on your website that help describe not only what the image is, but the meaning of it and why it's there. And potential controversial statement, not every image on your site needs one. If you have lots of images of, say, blue wavy lines that are just adding to the vibes of a page, we don't need to add alt text for that, because if a screen reader is reading that, and it's just saying blue wavy line, blue wavy line, blue wavy line. That's not really helping the person using a screen reader to really understand what your content's about. So skip that, don't worry about it. And next, descriptive links. It is time for us to ditch the famous click here. And I know lots of people are still doing it, but we don't need to. People know now that we want them to click. What's important is for us to describe what the content we're linking to is about. So that helps people that are using screen readers to understand what the content's going to be, but it also helps search engines. It tells them where we're sending them. And if that's also using keyword-rich goodness, that's a bonus. Now, accessible multimedia. All our video content needs to be having captions and transcripts, so everyone can enjoy your content and understand it. So whether or not they can't hear your content, and there are many reasons why they might not be able to hear your content. They might be watching it in an office environment where they can't play something out loud. They might be on a train. I personally have something called obscure auditory dysfunction, which is a bonus of being neurodivergent, which means I can't hear things when there's multiple noises going on. So I watch everything with captions. It's annoying to people that come around to watch TV with me, but it helps me understand it because I won't be able to hear in movies what people are saying over the background music. So there are lots of people that rely on captions. But the good news there is you're not just making your video content accessible to them. It helps search engines really understand what your content's about. And just think about how much keyword-rich goodness is being created there in those captions and in those transcripts. So that's a total win-win for you as well. And finally, I want to speak about responsive design. Now, it's no surprise or shock to us as SEOs that we know search engines love a responsive website, but it's really important for accessibility too. We want everything to smoothly transition across screen sizes. And when you're using screen readers, we want to make sure it's still reading everything in the right order. Or people with visual impairments who have the fonts much bigger on their mobile devices. We want to make sure that it's not breaking the design and content blocks. So they're good things for you to really check and try on your website as well yourself to make sure that it might be looking really good on responsive on mobile, but we want to make sure that it's reading everything in the right order still as well. So those are my 5 quick tips for you to go away and look at first to make sure your website is more accessible. It's really important, not just because it's a legal requirement, but because we want to make the web more inclusive and accessible to everyone. We want everyone to have a good time on our website. But the bonus here is the overlap between SEO guidelines and accessibility standards is huge. The Venn diagram is very juicy in the middle. So you might already be doing a lot of this work without knowing it's making your accessibility better. You might be doing it just because it's SEO best practice, which, huzzah, you're already winning. But if not, just know that it's going to pay dividends for your SEO as well when you make these improvements. And the good news is it will give you a business advantage over your competitors because most people are still behind the curve on accessible websites. Firmly believe that not everyone is your target audience. In fact, when I start projects with new clients, I always ask them who their audience is. They say everybody, I say no. But in this case, we want your website to work for everyone. We want everyone to be welcome. And I think that if your website doesn't work for everyone, it works for no one. So making these accessibility improvements is going to be really crucial for your business. Small changes lead to a big impact. So let's keep building a web where everybody belongs. If you want to know more about accessibility or inclusivity, please feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. My link will be pasted below. And to keep the accessible and inclusive vibe going, we'll be providing a high-res file of the board below as well for you to access. Thank you so much.